Welcome to this deep dive. It's tailored specifically for you, the learner. Today, we're going to jump straight into a feeling that, well, even though it feels super personal, it actually touches so many of us. That quiet, kind of persistent sense of not enough.
Yeah, just pause with that for a second, the learner. Let yourself kind of settle with that phrase,
Yeah.
not enough. What what flickers up for you? Is it a specific situation or maybe just a general background hum of dissatisfaction?
Exactly. Like, think about the last time that feeling maybe nudged you. Could have been, I don't know, a fleeting comparison scrolling through your phone, right? Or maybe a harsher judgment you kind of level at yourself looking in the mirror. It's that internal critic, It seems to have its own broadcasting system, always whispering about what's lacking.
And what's so interesting, I think, is that while that voice feels so uniquely yours, it's an incredibly common human experience.
Mhm.
Today, instead of just trying to silence it, our aim is more to turn and face it,
Mm.
to understand its origins and maybe even its purpose.
Yeah, get curious about it.
Exactly. We'll be drawing on some ideas from Gestalt therapy as we sort of explore this terrain together.
Okay, so the learner, let's get right into it. Think back to one of those moments maybe recently when you felt that pang of not enough. What was actually happening around you? What thoughts were like swirling?
And often that feeling, it shows up as a kind of unease in the body, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Maybe a tightness or restlessness. What do you notice physically when you tune into that memory?
Oh, definitely. It's almost like your body keeps the score. You might not even consciously be thinking I'm not good enough, but you feel it, like in the clenching of your jaw or the tension across your shoulders.
Right.
And what's fascinating is how universal those physical responses can be. You might see someone kind of shrink in a meeting, maybe avoid eye contact. Those are often outward signals of that same inner feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Or consider a specific interaction. The learner. Imagine you're talking with someone whose opinion really matters to you.
Mm.
And that little voice pipes up, am I saying the right thing? Are they judging me? What what happens internally when that thought takes hold?
Oh, your mind just races, doesn't it? You start second guessing everything, maybe even rehearsing what you're going to say next instead of actually listening to them.
Mhm.
It's like you're putting on a performance, sort of trying to prove your worth instead of just being there present in the moment.
And notice the impulse maybe to immediately push that feeling away, to distract yourself. What happens if you just, well, stay with it for a moment, just observe that discomfort, maybe without judgment? What do you notice then?
It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it? To not immediately try to fix it or dismiss it. But yeah, when you just sort of acknowledge it, maybe it loses some of its power.
Right.
It becomes less of this huge monster and more of, well, just a feeling.
Precisely. And that discomfort, as unwelcome as it often is, it can actually be a messenger. It can tell us a lot about the stories we're carrying, and how we relate to ourselves. Think back to times when this feeling has been particularly strong for you. Were there any common threads, any patterns?
Definitely. Yeah. For me, it often tops up after I get feedback, even if it's mostly positive feedback. There's still this nagging sense that I somehow got lucky or that I'm going to be found out eventually, imposter syndrome stuff.
Hmm.
Or maybe in social situations where I feel like everyone else just effortlessly connecting and I'm sort of on the outside looking in.
Yeah, those recurring patterns, they often point to what Gestalt therapy might call unfinished business, those past experiences where something significant felt um, unresolved. It leaves an emotional imprint that still affects us now.
Like a ripple effect.
Yeah, think of it like a half-closed loop in your emotional system that keeps trying to find completion somehow.
Okay, and this connects to that idea of figure and ground, right? Like the feeling of not enough is the figure. It's what's front and center, grabs all our attention.
Exactly.
But what's the ground? What are the sort of underlying beliefs and experiences that are actually fueling that feeling?
Well, the ground is often composed of those early messages we absorbed, from family, friends, society at large. Think about the unspoken rules, the subtle comparisons, the times maybe when your needs weren't fully met or even acknowledged. These become the backdrop, the context against which we experience ourselves.
So, the learner, maybe take a moment now. Just take a breath. What story are you telling yourself right now about your own worthiness? Is it primarily a story of lack of deficiency?
And just consider the possibility that there might be another story, maybe a less dominant narrative, just waiting to be heard, one that acknowledges your inherent value, your wholeness,
Hmm.
just as you are, regardless of, external achievements or validation.
Because here's something I've noticed just in this conversation. The very fact that you're even tuning into this, the learner, that you're willing to explore this uncomfortable feeling, it suggests a pretty deep level of self-awareness and, well, a desire for something different.
Exactly. By
Hmm.
simply being present with this feeling, by noticing its nuances in your thoughts and
Yeah.
in your body, you're already beginning to shift your relationship with it.
Mm.
Awareness is always the crucial first step in any real change, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So as we continue, let's gently hold this sense of not enough. Let's explore not just why it might be there, but maybe how it operates in your life, how it influences your choices, your relationships, the way you show up in the world.
And let's remember, the learner, that this isn't just an intellectual exercise, right? This is
Yeah.
about understanding your lived experience, your embodied reality. It's felt.
Hmm. It's so easy to want to distract ourselves from this feeling, isn't it? To like reach for our phones or stay super busy to avoid that quiet space where these uncomfortable emotions tend to surface.
Yet, within that very discomfort lies valuable information.
Hmm.
If we can allow ourselves to just lean in, even a little, we can begin to understand the patterns that keep this feeling alive and kicking.
In Gestalt therapy, they talk about the cycle of experience, that sort of natural flow from like sensation to awareness to mobilizing energy to action, and then finally to contact and resolution, right?
Right.
And when the cycle gets interrupted somewhere along the line, it can leave us feeling stuck with that sense of unfinished business you mentioned.
Think about the feeling of hunger, the learner. A simple example. You become aware of the sensation, you have the energy to find food, you eat, and then ideally, you feel satisfied completion. The cycle is complete.
Okay.
Now imagine that hunger is constantly ignored or suppressed. That creates a tension, right? An
Hmm.
unresolved state. Similarly, unmet emotional needs in the past can fuel this persistent feeling of not enough.
So, thinking back to your own experiences, were there times, maybe especially early on, when you felt you had to be different somehow to gain approval or love from the people around you?
Perhaps a time when your feelings were dismissed, or when you were compared unfavorably to someone else, a sibling maybe, or a friend. These seemingly small moments can have a lasting impact on our sense of self-worth.
Just notice if any specific memories are bubbling up as we talk about this, and notice how your body responds to those memories, even right now. Is there any shift in your breathing, maybe your posture?
Our bodies hold on to these experiences in a very real way. They remember the emotions associated with those past events, and those memories can get triggered in present-day situations that feel kind of similar.
And this is where that concept of avoidance really comes in, isn't it? When that feeling of not enough arises, our natural inclination is often to protect ourselves from that discomfort. We want it to go away.
And these protective mechanisms, well, they can become ingrained habits. Some might strive for perfectionism, right? Believing that if they are flawless, they will finally be worthy.
Or others might withdraw, avoiding situations where they fear judgment or rejection altogether.
Which of those responses, or perhaps another one entirely, resonates with you, the learner? What's your typical way of dealing with that feeling of inadequacy when it shows up?
Do you find yourself overcompensating? Maybe trying to prove your value through constant achievement, like always needing to be busy, always needing to succeed?
Or maybe downplaying your accomplishments, attributing them to luck rather than your own skills and effort. Oh, it was nothing.
Right. Or perhaps avoiding new challenges altogether for fear of failure, sticking to the safe zone.
And while these responses are totally understandable, they're protective, they often end up limiting us in the long run. They're attempts to shield ourselves, sure, but they also prevent us from truly connecting, both with ourselves and with others.
By constantly trying to avoid that vulnerable place within us, we actually miss opportunities for genuine growth and an authentic connection. We can get caught in these cycles of self-criticism, which just further reinforces the very belief we're trying to escape.
And the more we engage in these avoidance patterns, the stronger they become, almost validating that initial feeling of not being good enough. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, in a way.
Let's consider this through the lens of contact in Gestalt therapy. Healthy contact involves being fully present, authentic, and engaged in genuine exchange with ourselves and others.
But when that feeling of not enough is really strong, our ability to make that authentic contact is often compromised, isn't it? We're just too busy trying to manage how we're being perceived.
Right. We might either over-adapt, trying so hard to please others that we lose touch with our own needs and boundaries.
Or we might under-adapt, withdrawing to protect ourselves from perceived threats, putting up walls. Neither allows for true, nourishing connection.
Think about how this belief impacts your relationships, the learner. Do you find yourself maybe constantly seeking reassurance or validation from those around you, needing them to tell you you're okay?
Or perhaps you keep people at arm's length, fearing that if they truly see you, all of you, they'll discover your flaws and then withdraw their affection or approval.
Both of those reactions, though they seem like opposites, can stem from that exact same underlying fear of not being enough. It's like we're constantly testing the waters, isn't it? Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
And yet, paradoxically, it is often in allowing ourselves to be truly seen in our vulnerability with all our imperfections that the possibility for genuine connection and even healing arises.
This kind of brings in the idea of responsibility, doesn't it? But not in a blaming way, more as a form of empowerment. It's about recognizing our own agency.
Yes, responsibility here means acknowledging our own experiences, recognizing that while we may not have chosen all the influences that shaped us, we do have the power to choose how we respond to them right here in the present moment.
It's about realizing that those stories we tell ourselves about our worthiness are just that they're stories. They're narratives that have been constructed over time. And narratives, well, they can be rewritten.
So, the learner. Consider the possibility, just for now, of consciously choosing a different narrative. Imagine, just for a moment, that the belief I'm not enough is not the whole truth. It's just one part of the story.
What if, beneath all those layers of self-criticism and doubt, there's a quieter, maybe more compassionate voice, one that says, you are actually okay just as you are.
How would it feel to give that voice a little more space? To allow it to be heard? To acknowledge your own inherent humanity with all its imperfections and vulnerabilities and still recognize your fundamental worth?
This isn't a quick fix, obviously. Shifting deeply ingrained beliefs takes time, it takes patience, and frankly, a generous dose of self-compassion. It's definitely a journey, not a destination.
But every moment of awareness, every small act of self-acceptance, it makes a difference. It helps us reclaim our own authority in the story of our lives.
And as that shift begins to happen, you might start noticing subtle changes, not just within yourself, but also in how you interact with the world around you.
Yeah, your posture might become a little more open, maybe your voice a little more confident, and perhaps the world might even start to feel a little less critical and, dare I say, a little more welcoming.
Before we move on, the learner, just take another deep breath. Let yourself settle into this moment right now. Remember that these feelings, they're part of the shared human experience. You're not alone in this.
And within that shared experience lies a profound potential for growth, a capacity to meet yourself with greater kindness and to step more fully into your authentic self.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, exploring this feeling of not enough and some of its potential roots. Now, let's maybe think about how we can start to bring this awareness into our daily lives. Make it practical.
Yeah, this is where insight begins to translate into action, the learner. It's about taking this understanding and allowing it to actually inform your choices and responses in your everyday experiences.
We talked about the power of simply noticing when that feeling arises. So instead of immediately reacting with an old, familiar pattern like self-criticism or avoidance, can we pause and maybe meet ourselves with a little more gentle curiosity?
Exactly. When that familiar thought, I'm not enough, surfaces, maybe try asking yourself, what am I truly feeling in this moment, below the thought? And what underlying need might this emotion be pointing to? Perhaps it's a need for connection or validation or maybe just rest.
And the answers to those questions, they can become really valuable guides, not towards trying to fix ourselves, but towards a deeper understanding and acceptance of our present experience. They can lead us towards meeting our actual needs in healthier ways.
Consider also incorporating small, regular practices that help you stay grounded in the present moment. Things like mindfulness exercises, even just a few moments of focused breathing throughout the day can be really powerful anchors.
Or practices like journaling, maybe, where you can explore your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Or even gentle movement that connects you with your body yoga. Walking can also be incredibly helpful in fostering that sense of presence.
Find what resonates with you, the learner. There's no one-size-fits-all here. And try to weave it into the fabric of your daily life. These small, consistent acts of self-care can gradually strengthen your awareness and nurture your capacity for self-compassion over time.
And it's so important to remember this isn't a linear path, right? There will absolutely be times when those old feelings and that critical inner voice come back, sometimes with surprising intensity.
And that's okay. That's a natural part of being human. Gestalt therapy really encourages us to embrace the full spectrum of our experience, the difficult emotions as well as the joyful ones. Growth isn't about achieving some perfect state of zen. It's about continuing to show up for ourselves with honesty and compassion.
So, as you move through your week, the learner, How might you consciously choose maybe just one small act of self-compassion? In a moment when that familiar wave of self-criticism begins to rise, what could that look like?
Consider also how you might honor your own boundaries, even in subtle ways. Instead of automatically defaulting to people-pleasing, maybe saying no gently or asking for what you need, each small act of self-respect reinforces your inherent sense of worthiness.
Yeah, and even just a brief check-in with your body and your emotions throughout the day, like what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it? Can help strengthen that connection to the present moment, bringing you back to yourself, to your own inner experience.
As we gently bring this particular exploration to a close for today, I want to offer you an image, if that's helpful. Imagine standing on solid ground. Feel your feet on the earth. And you might notice passing clouds above you, some dark and stormy, others light and fleeting.
And that feeling of not enough can often feel like one of those really dark clouds, right? Threatening to overshadow everything, blotting out the sun.
But if you remain grounded, present in your own being, feet on the earth, you can observe the clouds passing without being swept away by them. You recognize that they are temporary phenomena. They do not define the solid ground beneath your feet.
So embracing our inherent enoughness, as we've been discussing, it isn't about denying the difficult feelings or pretending the clouds aren't there. It's about recognizing that they're just one part of a much larger and more complex picture, the whole sky.
And just like learning to navigate changing weather, it's not about trying to control every feeling that arises. That's impossible. It's more about learning to be present with them, to understand their message, perhaps, and to remember your own inherent stability, that ground beneath you.
This conversation, of course, is just a beginning, isn't it? These are deep themes, and they continue to unfold throughout our lives. It's ongoing work.
So carry these reflections with you gently, the learner. Allow them to continue to resonate and maybe evolve as you move through your experiences this week. No pressure to figure it all out right now.
Yeah. And as you go about your week, the learner, perhaps you can simply notice those moments when that familiar feeling of not enough makes its presence known. And maybe in that moment, you can just pause, take a breath, and remind yourself that you are here, you are present, and you are inherently worthy of belonging, just as you are.
Flawed, perhaps, and certainly human, we all are,
Yeah.
but also possessing a unique and intrinsic value. And from that place of growing self-acceptance, you can continue to move forward, not striving for some unattainable perfection, but embracing the richness and complexity of your own being.
So the learner, as we kind of surface from this initial exploration, what resonates most deeply with you right now? What did you notice maybe in your body as we explored these moments of feeling inadequate? Anything shift?
We touched on the idea that this feeling often has roots in past experiences, right? Those moments where maybe our needs weren't fully met or our sense of worth felt questioned somehow. Consider this week, as you move through your day, if you can identify any echoes of those older experiences and how you feel in the present. Just notice.
We also explored the concept of avoidance. You know, those strategies we use to try and protect ourselves from the discomfort of feeling not enough. What are some of your go-to strategies when that feeling creeps in? And maybe ask yourself, are they truly serving you in the long run?
And the power of presence and self-compassion, those emerged as really key elements in maybe shifting this dynamic. Perhaps this week you might experiment with just one small act of self-compassion when that familiar voice of self-criticism arises. What might that look like for you specifically in a real situation?
This deep dive is really just the beginning, isn't it? It's part of a potentially lifelong journey of understanding and shifting these deeply ingrained patterns. We really hope this initial exploration has offered you maybe a new lens, a different way to view this very, very human experience.
And remember, the learner, the very act of questioning that ingrained belief, I'm not enough, that itself is a profound and courageous step. There's absolutely potential for a different, more compassionate narrative about yourself, just waiting to be discovered and embraced. What might that narrative begin to look like for you?